Hey guys, it's Jen Lefforge. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little different than what we normally do around here. It is the first part of a series that I am so excited about, where I'm going to be sharing with you guys the lessons that I have learned on my gap year. We're going to be a little more relaxed. We're going to be a little more informal. I'm going to be a little more vulnerable, and I'm really glad that you're here for the journey, and I hope you'll stick around. So if you're new here, I'm Jen. I write, I vlog, I talk on YouTube primarily about Disney, but also about my travels all around the world. I have just completed a 1-year grown-up gap year. I will put a link right here and also in the description below that tells you all about my grown-up gap year and how you can maybe plan for one on your own. It has been a phenomenal year. I mean, if I look at all of the travels that I've been on, Paris, London, Arizona, Florida, of course, Disney World, the ocean, all over the place. And I have done it on my own terms. I have traveled primarily by myself. I've also spent time with family and friends. My husband has been amazingly supportive of this journey. And, you know, I had heard a lot of women talk about that first year after their kids are all in college and how difficult it is. And was I running away from those feelings a little bit? Maybe, but I have zero regrets, and it has been a fantastic year. And although these lessons may not be for you, they might be for you. These are the things that I needed to learn and that I feel like God really revealed to me over the last 12 months. I'm gonna be sharing them with you. Take what works for you, leave what doesn't. But either way, I hope you get to know me a little bit more in this process and that there's something that you can take away that will help you in your own journey. So I'm wearing my Love Anyway sweatshirt from the Preemptive Love Coalition. It is my absolute favorite not-for-profit. I'll put a link to them below and also a Donate Now card right here. They do work with refugees all over the world, primarily in Syria and Iran. They work with families and they do such great work. So definitely go and check them out, and you can buy one of these sweatshirts. This has become like my favorite piece of clothing in the whole world. So also next to me, as I'm sharing these kind of vulnerable lessons from the gap year, will be this picture of myself. I was just about 2 years old in this picture, maybe a little bit younger. My mom watches the vlog, so she'll have to let me know. And I just love my expression in this picture, and I feel like that is kind of how I have approached my entire gap year. Throughout the years, whenever I have felt like I've drifted a little astray from my authentic self, I've pulled out this picture. I was looking at my dad as he was taking this, and just that look of wonder and excitement on my face is something that I want to be sure I capture and carry with me into this next chapter of my life. Lesson number 1 from the gap year has been the one that has been the most important, and also the one that has changed my behavior the most of all of the lessons I'm going to be sharing with you guys. And that lesson is very simple, and I am calling it take up space. Now, I have been doing yoga recently, and you know, take up space is something you'll hear a lot in yoga class, but especially as women, sometimes I feel we are so fearful to take up our own space in the universe. Now, here's what I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about taking up more than the space that you have a right to. I'm talking about you as a person, me as a person, in my physical body, have a right to take up space. This lesson was drilled home to me very clearly in that wonderful, exciting travel space we call getting off the airplane at the end of a flight. It's not wonderful. It's horrible. And it's horrible because everyone is in a hurry. I fly in and out of Atlanta, so frequently people are trying to make connecting flights. People are very rushed, and people, as we know, because we have so much going on, tend to be very impatient. I have been flying. My father was an airline pilot. My husband is a pilot. I have been flying my entire life, and that moment has always been fraught with anxiety for me, as I have gone into a panic, not for my own flight, not for getting myself off the airplane, but for the fact that, God forbid, the person behind me should have to wait 1 second longer than necessary. Now add to that, and I know you have all been there, the flyer who likes to loudly sigh behind you because you are taking a little bit too much time getting your bag from underneath the seat and a little bit too much time getting your bag from overhead. I'm not sure what that is. It's like the hover sigh, right? Like they're hovering over you and sighing at the same time. And everything in them is communicating, woman, would you just hurry up? And I have been on so many flights this year, and I'm not sure which flight it was, but I was getting that feeling, that anxious feeling of, okay, I'm gonna go as fast as I can. I'm going as fast as I can. I'm so sorry. And all of a sudden I stopped and I thought to myself, you know what? I am on this airplane and I have every right to be on this airplane, and my bag is in the overhead compartment. And some of you are laughing right now because you're like, this is so simplistic. Why did this teach her such a big lesson? Because it did. And I thought, I am going to take as much time as it reasonably takes me to safely lift up the overhead bin, get out my bag, set it down in front of me, lift up the handle, and get off the airplane. And it was like a light bulb went off. And I went, you know what? That person behind me can do the hover sigh all dang day long. They are not going to disrupt my inner peace. They are not going to rob me of the extra 6 seconds perhaps that it is taking me because I am calmly and intentionally removing my bag from the overhead, carrying it down the aisle. I am just going to take up my space in the universe. And I realized that I have spent many years of my life trying to always acquiesce to other people's needs, and I have not felt like I had the right to take up my own space in the universe. And that one lesson, the realization that whether I am walking down a sidewalk or I am on, we use MARTA a lot here in Atlanta. If I am on the train, if I am in a crowded airport, if I have waited in a long line for someone to answer my questions, say at a department store or some other place where someone waits in line, I do not have to rush because there are a bunch of people behind me. I am not a person that would be inconsiderate in that way, but guess what? I have the right to stand there and get all of my questions answered. So taking up my own space has become a foundational principle of how I carry myself throughout my life. It comes into play when it comes to asking clarifying questions. How many times throughout my life have I asked someone to explain something, whether that be a professor or a teacher or, again, someone out in public, and they've explained it and I haven't quite understood it, and I've wanted to ask a follow-up question, but I held back because I thought, oh gosh, I don't want to take more of their time than I have a right to. And I have walked away not understanding the answer to the question because I didn't want to inconvenience the people around me. So this constant not having my needs met in order to be overly considerate of those around me is over now. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to be considerate of those around me always. I'm going to have compassion for those around me always, but I'm also going to take up my space. And hover sire behind me, who is usually a man, but not always, you're just gonna have to cool your jets. And seriously, if you would like to tell me verbally to hurry up, go ahead, make my day. And I hope today has made your day. I have right now about 5 lessons from the gap year that I'm going to be sharing with you guys over the following weeks. Make sure you're subscribed and you have your bell notifications turned on so that you know when I'm going to share them. I'm also going to be writing blog posts that accompany all of these lessons, so you can get those on my website at jenlefforge.com. I'm so glad you've been here today. I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you love anyway, and I hope you learn to take up space. Have a great day. Bye-bye.